A body on the beach. A man with no name, no wallet, no ID, not even a clothing label to trace him. In his pocket, a tiny scrap of paper with two haunting words, Tamam Shud. From a mysterious code hidden in a rare book, to a woman who trembled at the sight of his face, to whispers of Cold War spies and untraceable poisons. This case has baffled investigators for over 70 years. Who was the Somerton Man? A spy silenced forever, a lover with deadly secrets, or a man who chose to vanish in the most chilling way possible? This is one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. On the morning of December 1st, 1948, the body of a man was discovered on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, South Australia. He was well dressed in a suit and tie, lying neatly against the seawall as if he had simply fallen asleep. But this was no ordinary death. The man carried no wallet, no money, and most unusually, no identification of any kind. All the labels had been carefully cut from his clothing. He was, in every sense, a man with no name. Witnesses had reported seeing him the previous evening. Some thought he was drunk, others assumed he had simply dozed off, but by dawn it was clear he was dead. The cause of death was never firmly established. An autopsy revealed no signs of violence, yet his organs showed strange congestion, as if he had been poisoned. No common poison could be found, leaving doctors baffled. The mystery deepened when investigators searched his belongings. In his pockets were bus tickets, chewing gum, cigarettes, and a used comb, but nothing that revealed who he was. Days later, a tiny rolled-up scrap of paper was found hidden in a secret pocket of his trousers. On it were two words, printed in elegant script, Tamam Shud. The words meant, "It is finished," in Persian. They were traced back to a rare copy of a book of poetry called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Police scoured the city and eventually found a car with a copy of the book tossed inside. The final page had been torn out, the very page containing the words Tamam Shud. It was a perfect match. Inside the book, investigators found something even stranger. A handwritten code, a series of random letters grouped together as if it were some kind of cipher. To this day, no one has been able to definitively crack its meaning. Was it a spy code, a secret message, or something more personal, known only to the Somerton Man and whoever left it there? The mystery grew darker when a phone number was also discovered written inside the book. It led to a local woman named Jestin, a nurse who lived not far from Somerton Beach. When questioned, she denied knowing the man, but appeared visibly shaken when shown his photograph. Some investigators believe she was hiding something, but no proof ever surfaced. Theories exploded. Some claimed the Somerton Man was a Cold War spy, killed with an untraceable poison. Others thought it was a tragic love affair gone wrong, or even suicide with deliberately hidden identity. But there were no answers. Even attempts to trace the origin of his clothing and possessions led nowhere. For decades, the case haunted Australia. The man was buried under a simple headstone that read only, "Here lies the unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach, 1st December 1948. Flowers would mysteriously appear on his grave, left by an unknown visitor. In recent years, DNA testing has reopened the mystery. Scientists exhumed the body and attempted to reconstruct his identity using genetic genealogy. Some results suggested a link to a man named Carl Webb, but debates continue, and many experts remain unconvinced. Over 70 years later, the Tamam Shud case continues to perplex investigators, cryptographers, and ordinary people alike. A man with no name, a secret code, a book of ancient poetry, and a death that defied explanation. Was he a spy caught in the shadows of the Cold War? A heartbroken lover with secrets too dangerous to reveal? Or simply a man who wanted his story to end in silence? No one knows for sure. What remains is a chilling puzzle carved into history, a mystery that may never truly be solved. Story number 2. On the eastern tip of Long Island, New York, lies an abandoned military base known as Camp Hero. Its decaying radar tower still looms over the landscape, a haunting reminder of the Cold War. But according to decades of rumors, Camp Hero was more than just a defense station. Hidden beneath its grounds, many believe, was the site of one of the most terrifying series of experiments in American history, the Montauk Project. The story first gained attention in the 1980s when a man named Preston Nichols came forward with shocking claims. He said he had worked at Camp Hero and uncovered memories that had been deliberately erased from his mind. According to Nichols, secret government scientists were conducting experiments in mind control, time travel, and even communication with beings from other dimensions. Nichols described the facility as a labyrinth of underground tunnels and labs where abducted children and young adults were subjected to horrific tests. Some were allegedly placed in sensory deprivation chambers, exposed to electromagnetic radiation, or forced into experiments designed to unlock psychic abilities. The goal, Nichols claimed, was to create super soldiers, humans who could control minds, travel through time, or open portals to other worlds. One of the most disturbing aspects of his account was the claim that thousands of children went missing from nearby neighborhoods during the years the project was active. They were allegedly taken to Montauk, used in experiments, and discarded once they were no longer useful. None of these children were ever traced. Nichols also told of a device called the Montauk chair, said to amplify psychic energy. According to him, when a subject with strong psychic powers sat in the chair, their thoughts could project into reality. One subject supposedly conjured physical objects out of thin air. In the most extreme story, Nichols claimed a creature, a monstrous beast created by human fear and imagination, was accidentally brought into existence, rampaging through the base before being destroyed. Whistleblowers also alleged that time travel experiments were attempted at Montauk. Tunnels to different eras and even alternate dimensions were supposedly opened, with disastrous results. Some claimed that individuals who traveled through never returned, while others came back horribly altered. The project was said to have continued for years, hidden beneath the guise of radar research. Then, suddenly, it ended. According to Nichols, the experiments grew too dangerous, spiraling out of control. The base was shut down, sealed, and left to rot. To this day, locals insist that beneath Camp Hero's ruins lies a network of locked tunnels, filled with secrets the government will never reveal. When these claims became public, most officials dismissed them as conspiracy theories. No evidence was ever produced that proved the experiments took place. Yet, for those who believe, the lack of evidence is only further proof of a cover-up. The Montauk Project captured the public imagination. The story of secret experiments on children, mind control programs, and hidden bases fed into suspicions about what governments do behind closed doors. It even inspired elements of popular culture, most famously the hit series Stranger Things, which was originally titled Montauk before being reworked for television. To this day, the abandoned Camp Hero is off-limits to the public, surrounded by fences and patrolled by security. Officially, it is nothing more than a state park with a decommissioned radar tower. Unofficially, many believe the walls still hide the scars of experiments too dark for the world to know. Was the Montauk Project real, or was it an elaborate story born out of Cold War paranoia and imagination? No definitive proof has ever been found, but the rumors persist, whispered by locals, repeated by conspiracy theorists, and retold by those who claim to have seen the horrors themselves. What is certain is that the legend of the Montauk Project continues to live on, a terrifying reminder that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Story number 3. In the quiet suburbs of Fairfax County, Virginia, there is a bridge that locals refuse to cross after dark. To outsiders, it looks like nothing more than a narrow, graffiti-stained underpass hidden deep in the woods. But to those who know the stories, it is a place of terror. They call it Bunny Man Bridge. The legend began in the early 1970s, when reports of a strange figure began circulating through the community. Witnesses described a man dressed in a white rabbit costume lurking in the woods, but this was no harmless prank. The Bunny Man carried an axe. One of the earliest reports came in October 1970. A young couple parked near the bridge claimed that a man in a rabbit suit suddenly appeared, screaming at them for trespassing. He then hurled an axe through their car window before disappearing into the night. Shaken but alive, they went to the police, who filed an official report. Days later, another sighting emerged. A security guard reported a man in a rabbit suit hacking at a porch post with an axe. He shouted threats before vanishing into the trees. The guard swore the story was real. These strange encounters were confirmed in local newspapers at the time, lending the tale an unsettling credibility. But soon, the rumors grew darker. Locals whispered that mutilated animal carcasses, rabbits, and even larger livestock were being found scattered near the bridge. Some said they were strung up from trees, their bodies gutted as if part of some ritual. People began to believe the Bunny Man wasn't just a prankster, but something much more sinister. As the legend spread, the story took on new and terrifying details. One version claimed the Bunny Man was an escaped inmate from a nearby asylum who had murdered fellow patients and dressed in their clothing. Another tale said he was a farmer who went mad after his family's land was seized, donning a rabbit costume as he sought revenge. Teenagers dared each other to visit Bunny Man Bridge at midnight, believing they would see him standing beneath the arch, his axe dripping, his glowing eyes watching. Some even claimed that those who lingered too long were chased into the woods and never seen again. While police investigated the early incidents, no one was ever arrested. The man in the rabbit costume was never identified. Over time, the real events and the urban legend merged, creating a story too frightening to ignore. What made the legend even more disturbing was the fact that multiple people really had encountered a figure in a bunny suit carrying an axe. The official police reports proved it, but why he did it, or who he was, has never been explained. Today, Bunny Man Bridge remains one of the most infamous haunted sites in Virginia. Locals still avoid it after dark, and paranormal investigators flock to it, hoping to capture evidence of the legend. Strange sounds are often reported: footsteps, whispers, or the feeling of being watched. Some say that if you stand beneath the bridge at midnight, you will hear the scraping of an axe and see the figure of the Bunny Man watching from the shadows. Was the Bunny Man a disturbed individual who sparked a legend with his bizarre behavior? Or was there something far darker at work, something that claimed lives and still haunts the woods of Fairfax County? Whatever the truth, the Bunny Man has become more than just a story. He is a figure of fear, a reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are not born of imagination, but of reality.